We are back with another edition of the Fantasy Forecheck, powered by Ram. Back-to-back winner of Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, Andy McNamara, alongside Nick Alberga. And Nick, there is a ton to get to today. We'll take you through the value picks for Sportsnet Fantasy Hockey Pool, DFS, office pools, whatever the type. We'll get you the fantasy news and notes that you need getting ready for round two. But how you doing, buddy?
I'm fantastic. Got a fresh fade for you, and happy to report as well that in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, my picks were a tad better than the qualifying round. But it's so great to be talking hockey again in the month of August, and play is really ramping up. I don't know about you. It took a couple games, but I finally didn't even realize there was no crowd out there. It's much different, but I think all in all, the NHL deserves a lot of credit so far.
Yeah, they've done a good job. And yeah, once you get into it, get used to it. It's fine, right? Like, it's whatever. You're not there to see people in the stands anyway. You're there to see the hockey.
Who wants to see people in the stands? I want to see the players, right?
Come on, right? Exactly.
Bubble hockey. It is.
Look at that.
Shout out to Homage. Sent me the shirt. Love that.
Very nice.
Had to rock it for the show today. So we're good to go. But yeah, lots been happening, hasn't it?
It is. It's much fancier than my man checkered, dress shirt. Yeah, it's fine.
Your shirt's definitely a mood.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
I got to check out the Homage shirts. I want some too. Anyway, we'll get to our value picks and all that good stuff. But the fantasy news and notes, number one, though, our producer, Colin Van Owen, new baby Theo in the house a couple days ago. He's in, so congratulations to Colin and his family and baby Theo. But inside the NHL bubble, Nick, there's one less guy, and he belongs to the Boston Bruins. And this is a story that really leapt out to me in round one. Tuukka Rask, he's out. And this
he's gone.
Everything's on Halak. Everything is on Halak for Boston.
Yep. He gone is Tuukka Rask. And you're right. I think from a perspective of the Sportsnet Fantasy Hockey Pool, and again, as we move forward here, it depends on who you like to win 4 games. And you think and hope that goalie will play all those games. It's Yaroslav Halak's crease right now. Last I heard, by the way, Tuukka Rask can come back if he so pleases and they figure something out and he goes through the abided quarantine process again. But again, if you're a feeler in Boston right now, you're going Yaroslav Halak is your guy. The value there with the player, and maybe you Ram capable pick him as well in terms of net minors. But I thought he was really good considering where he came in that series to do the job he did. That was pretty damn impressive. But he's a seasoned pro. Are we that shocked, right?
And Nick, then of course, what we expected, any playoffs, bubble or not, a lot of players banged up, and the quote, our favorite saying, the unfit to play, even vaguer than upper or lower body, unfit to play. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, I need our friends at Homage to send me an unfit to play shirt. That's my next direction when it comes to the t-shirt category. Outside of my Golden Muzzy t-shirt, buy one now. There's only one available, and I got it. But yeah, Steven Stamkos. That's probably the one guy we do know is injured right now. Very vague. Seems to be the name of the game in the injury world in the National Hockey League, but certainly. Stamkos, that's the most impressive thing to me is how quickly Tampa got rid, of their opponent there. Certainly, I think when you look at the job they did without having a Stamkos in the lineup, I thought was really, really impressive. Finally exercising those demons, playing a team like Columbus, and it was a hard-fought series. We got the 18 overtime game, but not having Stamkos, that was a thing that really caught my eye when you look at the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah. And what about in Vegas? We still haven't, when it comes to fantasy hockey, you want certainty in between the pipes. That's what you want. At least in Boston now, we know it's Halak. We know that's it. For Vegas, there's still some questions, right?
Yeah, I think Peter Bourne doesn't even know what direction he wants to go. I know they kept going back to Robin Lehner last series. I guess he's the number one right now. But I think in this day and age of the tandem share, you love to have 2 guys who can do it. So I wouldn't be shocked if at some point in time Marc-Andre Fleury grabs a crease and back and forth. Even dating back last round, you look at the St. Louis Blues. We saw Jake Allen. We saw Jordan Binnington. I think when you look at Vegas, I think they're happy and content with having both guys going in there. And more times than not, that's a bad thing if you're using both guys. But I think if there is a team that can weather the storm in the crease, it's probably the Vegas Golden Knights. So I think you're right. If you were to ask me right now, Andy, I think they'll start with Robin Lehner in that series. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think you're right. But that's the question. We don't know for sure. Right. And that's why for me, if I'm putting in if you're doing DFS, you find out who the starter is, you pop them in. But if I'm looking at a round 2 long fantasy pool, I'm probably shying away from Vegas, Nick. I need certainty.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though, right? In this day and age, like outside of Andre Vasilevsky, has there been really somebody who's played every game, right? There always seems to be the backup goaltender in the weed, just waiting to play, and that again, that just part and parcel to to this era. Even Tuukka Rask, the way he was playing for Boston, gets lit up, and then next thing you know, it's Yaroslav Halak's crease. So certainly something we'll monitor for, but I think it just adds a different dimension, Andy, when it comes to the Sportsnet fantasy hockey pool. Because I think you're right. You want to go with a guy you know who's going to be in there all the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, Nick, as we know in the Sportsnet fantasy hockey pool, you go sportsnet.ca/RAM. That's where you can play for free, win some great prizes. You have split over the two conferences, Western Conference picks, Eastern Conference picks, where we pick forwards, defenders, one goalie in each, 30 points to spend, and the players are valued 1 to 4, 1 the lowest, 4 the highest, and you have a RAM capable tag for each position group. But overall, so not one per conference, that's why you really got to think about it. A forward, a defender, and a goalie, and you get double the fantasy points if you do that. So who is your East value play?
You're going to love this, my ongoing feud with Isles Nation. How about Tito Beauvillier, Anthony Beauvillier, 6 goals in 8 playoff games? Let's ride it. Do you have any confidence in the Islanders scoring goals going forward? Probably not. But I think you show me value in the form of Anthony Beauvillier. How do you not go to that well, right? 6 goals in 8 games, a 1-point value, especially in this cap allotment of 30. So I'm going Anthony Beauvillier, and that should make me some friends on Twitter, right?
You're jumping on the
Probably
bandwagon, Nick. No,
Yeah,
probably
not really. No.
But hey, you know what? It's the value. I like it. For me, I'm going to Boston, David Krejci, right? 2 points. And now you compare him to his teammate, Brad Marchand, who has cost of 4 points, same number of actual real life hockey points in the playoffs so far at 7. He's 2 points cheaper. 3 goals, 5 assists in that Carolina series. Point in every game. I'm slotting him in. Who do you got for the West?
Yeah, I like that. And, going with that, I'm going to a younger type player again. I love watching this. Miro Heiskanen, man. Like, he is just blowing me away. And it has been the postseason, guys, with Seth Jones and the caliber of that player, Cale Makar with Colorado. These young type defensemen, Quinn Hughes in Vancouver, has just been all world so far. I am going to Miro Heiskanen of the Dallas Stars. Can you believe he's got 12 points in 9 games?
That's wild.
I mean, my big wonder from a fantasy standpoint for Miro Heiskanen first couple of years in the NHL was the insulation and the fact that he was behind John Klingberg. But he's slowly, and not even slowly anymore, taking over maybe the number 1 defenseman spot on that Dallas team. I thought Klingberg was excellent against the Calgary Flames there in the first round, and I think Heiskanen was even better. And that's why I think it's funny to say Dallas could be a wild card team, but they're a legitimate wild card team for me, not only to beat Colorado, and producer Drew's going to hate that. We pumped you too much last time, but more so going all the way and winning this Stanley Cup. There's tons of depth. I still have my wonders and concerns when it comes to goaltending, but Miro Heiskanen, what he's bringing to the table, a different dynamic for the Dallas Stars. And then you add the bonus 1-point value. Come on. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and Heiskanen was certainly on my list. You got it. You got to him first. So I'm going with this teammate. You mentioned John Klingberg. Also 1 point. So you might even want to stack.
Stack it. Yeah.
You might want to stack the Dallas Stars at the 1 point cheapest value. Come on. It's
Let's go.
Now our East or West value play. So you can go interconference here, Nick. Who are you looking at?
And in order to get back on producer Drew's good side, I'm going to go with Nazem Kadri, who's clearly going to win the Conn Smythe Trophy this summer, which is just unbelievable to talk about in these parts. But good on him. He's not suspended. He's playing hockey, and he's rather effective. It's been really impressive, the body of work, the depth with the Colorado Avalanche, 4 goals in 7 games for Kadri. And the important thing to note is the physical brand he plays with and the clutch factor, right? He scored 2 really, really big goals on top of the other 2 he's had for this team so far. And I think you can't look past Nazem Kadri. I know you're rather limited in the roster spots and the allotment here with the cap system, but his 2-point value is incredible, and just the value points per game wise, I don't know how you can't go with Nazem Kadri. And that's outside of the fact that you're more likely than not going to Ram capable pick another guy in the Colorado Avalanche, right?
Oh, exactly. Or hey, we'll get to that. Nazem Kadri shows up on my list a little bit later on. When I'm looking at real value, I picked him in the previous show, Nate Schmidt from Vegas. He's, again, 1 point. Now, he cooled off a little bit from the round robin play, yes, but we know he can do it. And again, if you want to load up on some of those bigger guys like Nathan McKinnon, who's 4 points, right? You can have a Nate Schmidt who has proven he can step up and do pretty well. So if I'm looking at a guy who, even though he's cooled off a little bit, but could swing back, I'll go with Nate Schmidt. Who's
I like that. I will add too the fact that producer Drew brings this up, and thank you very much, producer Drew. I don't want to sell Nazem Kadri short. He's got 6 goals, not 4. So before people hit me up on the YouTube comments, he's got 6. My apologies. I've been watching a lot of Avalanche hockey. They're feeling good about Nazem Kadri.
They are.
To answer your question, I'm still a feeler in the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think they exercised some demons here against Columbus. I don't know how you can't go to Andrei Vasilevskiy. I think it's going to be a close series with the Boston Bruins, regardless of the 4-point value. When you look at Vasi, I think he brings everything you want and then some. I could see some low-scoring style. I think, it's the amazing thing for Tampa last round, and they really proved they can play different styles of hockey. Whatever you want to bring to the table, they're going to bring it as well. And I think they showed another dimension to me. So I'm going to go with Andrei Vasilevskiy. How about you?
Yeah, they've definitely matured for year over year. I think it's safe to say when it comes to the playoffs. I'm going to give more love to the Colorado Avalanche here, Nick. I'm going to Philip Grubauer.
Love fest, yeah.
Come on, right? Like he's not even going to cost you the full 4.
Yeah.
He's only 3 points. He's not even a full paycheck. He's not costing you that. Only 4 goals allowed in 4 games versus Arizona, including a shutout. He's 3 points. Avalanche are real good. We're pumping their tires. Come on. I think that's a great option.
The funny thing about that, I'm likely to pick Dallas in that series, or will pick Dallas.
Okay.
I just, in terms of being battle tested, I still have my wonders. Cale Makar is very young. I mean, it's a different element. And then I look at retribution. You look at Dallas last year was a goal away from moving on. St. Louis, Patty Maroon scores that massive goal. I like, the composition of that roster. I'm taking nothing away from Colorado. They're an excellent team. Wouldn't be shocked if they did something substantial in the next couple of years. I just wonder if it's going to be this year, Andy. I don't know how you feel about it. I may be pegging a Dallas-Tampa Bay Stanley Cup Final, but again, I'm always wrong. I'm always wrong. So
we still got a little ways to go.
Text from producer Drew. Don't worry.
That's right. Well, you know what? Hey, let's get to our Ram-capable picks here. And remember, you pick a forward, a defender, and a goalie. Double the fantasy points, but we'll just pick one of ours. Looks like we're both going back to the Avalanche, Nick.
Yeah.
We're staying in Colorado. We're staying in the mountains.
Well, and it's funny because people will say, well, you just picked Dallas to win the series. Whatever. Nathan McKinnon's on a different planet. As long as there's a Ram-capable pick and some guy McDavid's not playing, you go with Nathan McKinnon. Like, that was complete, utter dissection of the Arizona Coyotes, who I was sort of feeling a bit good on them. They took care of the Nashville Predators, but they soon found out that it was a different animal in taking on Colorado. But McKinnon had his way, even ragdolling Christian Fischer late in that series. Just the strength behind the player, the way he skates, his finishing ability. I think you look at point value, there's a reason why Nathan McKinnon is leading the playoffs in scoring as we speak right now. There's just way too much value, in my opinion. So I got a Ram-capable pick. I think he's going to get some points. Safe to say that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If the series goes long, you want to think of which series are going longer.
Exactly.
More points, right? That's another thing. So even if they lose, but it goes 6 or 7, still going to get a lot of points. Nathan McKinnon, no argument there. I'm going to go with Nazem Kadri just because I love how hot he has been so far. And I'm going to continue to ride the hot hand there, go a little contrarian per se. But yeah, lots of love for the Avalanche on this one. So, folks, if you have any fantasy hockey questions, series predictions, whatever, think we're nuts, leave us comments in the YouTube.
Stop chirping my eyebrows, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah, there's a lot of people chirping my eyebrows in the comment section.
Those are solid.
I know they're Gallagher X. Peter Gallagher.
You be proud of those babies. Those it takes a lot of work to get them to where they are. But you can, if you want to comment on Nick's eyebrows, comment section or hit us up on Twitter at AndyMCD1 at the Golden Muzzy. And Nick, hey, we'll see y'all next round.